Now pretty well ever since the inception of Oldschool Runescape, combat has been the main way that you make money in the game. Skilling used to be profitable, but it's not so much anymore due to most of the items being devalued. With that said though, I like skilling, and today I wanted to cover the most profitable skilling methods that still remain in Oldschool Runescape. Now starting us off here at the bottom, we have the Humidify spell. This spell is quite useful to have for a variety of content, but it does offer one pretty good moneymaker for the level and for skilling, and that is Humidifying clay. The spell only requires level 68 magic, which isn't too bad, and can net you about 700k per hour GP while also training magic. This moneymaker has been consistently profitable for a long time. The reason for that is because it kind of is a bit terrible to actually do it. I've gotten a few magic levels Humidifying clay and it's very good on paper. The only thing that sucks about it is it's very click intensive and requires constant banking. Now if you're doing this semi-efficiently, you can do about 800 inventories per hour, which means you're going to have to bank 800 times in a single hour. Which means you are going to be humidifying a lot of clay, to be precise about 20,000 to 22,000 clay per hour. Now all you're going to need to do this method is a steam battle staff and astral runes in your inventory. You're also going to want to add bank fillers to your bank and make sure you remove the astral rune placeholder. On top of that, you're also going to want to make sure that your F keys are enabled and make sure you have a hotkey for the inventory screen and your spellbook screen. I have mine on F1 and F4, but that's just a personal preference. That's very simple. All you have to do is withdraw an inventory of clay, cast the Humidify spell. While the animation is going off, I flip back to my inventory. As soon as you see the clay turn into soft clay, you want to hit the banker and your mage spellbook hotkey at the same time. You're going to deposit your inventory, withdraw an inventory of clay, and then immediately cast Humidify again and repeat it. Once you get the hang of things, you can get about 50k per hour magic experience while profiting about 700k per hour. A very profitable skilling method, although I probably wouldn't do it for a long time because your fingers are going to hate you. Now probably one of my favorite mid-scope updates that we've had recently is the changes to the Shades of Morton minigame. Now ever since the changes, there's actually a very good moneymaker with the use of the firemaking skill, firemaking historically not being too profitable outside of Wintertot. Now that would be cremating Urium remains. Now there's a lot that's good about this moneymaker. The main drawback is it's not really unlocked until an extremely high firemaking level. To cremate Urium remains, you need 95 firemaking. That said, firemaking is a quick skill, so it's not as hard to reach that level. Now this moneymaker is also a very significant training method for both firemaking and prayer. Because of that, there are a few recommended diaries to complete. If you get the Mauritania Hard Diary done, you're going to get 50% more prayer experience, and the Elite Mauritania Diary will give you 50% more firemaking experience. So how exactly does this work? Well, it's not too complicated. Now there's one main equipable item that you're going to want to get, and that would be the gold coffin. This is earned through the minigame, but it is very simple to get. This will allow you to store any of the remains in it, which is super helpful. So your inventory is going to consist of a tinderbox and the rest redwood pyre logs, and your coffin is going to have Urium remains in it. So from here you're going to head to Berg de Rot and a bit north. Now you're going to have to drop a few logs on the ground to withdraw a few of your Urium remains, and the order you do this in is you put a log on the pyre, you put the remains down, and then you light it. And after it's done burning, you will have a very high chance of getting a gold key, and this is what's going to make this method actually profitable. Sometimes you're going to get coins, but the majority of the time you're going to get a gold key. So by the time you finish your inventory, you should have somewhere between 20 and 25 gold keys. Now these are of course a key to a lock within the Shades of Morton dungeon, and the loot from it is quite good. There's rune equipment, dragon equipment, battle staves, the unique zealot robes, and also notably elite clue scrolls, which you're going to get at a fairly common rate. Now if you do this somewhat efficiently, you're able to get over 1 mil an hour in profit while also gaining over 200,000 experience per hour in firemaking and over 50,000 experience per hour in prayer, making it one of the best new additions for skilling moneymakers that we've had in years. Now, another skilling money-making method that has consistently been profitable for a long time is pickpocketing master farmers. Now, you can actually start pickpocketing master farmers at as low a level as 38, but it's not really recommended until you've gotten a few requirements out of the way. Now, one thing to keep in mind right away is that as of March of 2021, there's an anti-botting measure that was put in place that actually lowers the amount of seeds you get if your farming level is too low. So with all that said, if you're trying to make some money with Master Farmers, I'd recommend having at least mid-70s in your thieving skill, and you're also going to need 71 farming. Otherwise, the money per hour is going to be nerfed quite substantially. Now at 75 thieving, you're able to get the Rogue's outfit, as well as finish the Ardoon Hard Diary. The Rogue outfit is almost a requirement to do this because you're going to get double the seeds when you wear it, effectively doubling the money per hour immediately. And the Ardoon Diary is going to give you just a simple 10% improved chance at pickpocketing, which is incredibly helpful for not only Master Farmers, but anything else you are going to be stealing from. Now there are a few places that you can thieve Master Farmers from. My personal favorite is the Farming Guild. In the first tier of the Farming Guild, there's a few spots that the Master Farmers usually get stuck in, which allows you to stand still and not have to move your mouse at all when you click. Now at 75 thieving, you're going to be making about 400k per hour GP, mostly off Renar seeds, a few Snapdragons, and some other valuable allotment seeds. And you'll also be getting around 60k per hour thieving experience. Now although you do have a pretty high success rate, you're still going to fail occasionally, which means using dodgy necklaces and the Shadow Veil spell will increase your pickpockets per hour. As you level up further, your success rate will go higher and higher, until finally at 94 you'll stop failing entirely, where you'll cap out at around 800k per hour profit. Now it's impossible to talk about skilling moneymakers without mentioning the Blast Furnace. The Blast Furnace has historically been one of the best ways to make money with smithing, and to my surprise it's actually remained pretty profitable. Starting right from level 15, you're able to make a decent amount of money while also training the smithing skill. There are of course some other recommendations to make this more efficient and cost effective, but you can start this right from level 15, smelting iron bars, and it gets more and more profitable all the way up to Runite at 85. Now there are a few items that you're definitely going to want to work towards here, primarily the coal bag, which is almost a requirement for anything above iron bars. This will allow you to carry an additional inventory of coal with you, cutting down your running time significantly. The ice gloves are another recommended piece of equipment here. While not entirely necessary, it does free up an inventory slot and allows you to cool the bars without using a bucket of water on it every time. And finally, once you get to 60 smithing, everything in the Blast Furnace will be more cost effective, as you won't have to pay the dwarves their hourly rate anymore. Now when I started doing the Blast Furnace, I was doing adamant bars, but the concept is pretty much the same for any type of bar you do. The only difference is the amount of coal you will need. So for an adamant bar in the Blast Furnace, for every adamant ore we need 3 coal. Which means what we're going to do here is we're going to have our coal bag, we're going to withdraw 2 full inventories of coal by filling up our coal bag. A quick tip here is if you do have Runelight, under the Menu Entry Swapper plugin, if you go down to UI Swaps, I've changed my bank deposit shift click to eat, wield, etc. And this will allow you to shift left click your coal bag to fill it while you're in your bank interface, which will save you a lot of time. So we're going to take 2 full inventories of coal, run it to the Blast Furnace. From there we're going to run back to the bank, withdraw another inventory of coal and an inventory of adamantite. Once we drop those both in there, everything will combine and we'll get 27 adamant bars. All we have to do is collect it from the bar dispenser and repeat that. A very simple process, and it doesn't really take that long to get the hang of it. The nice thing about adamant is you can do it at level 70, which is more accessible. You're going to get around 100k per hour smithing experience while making about 700k profit. That said, once you have unlocked Runite, you can earn up to 1.2 mil per hour smithing Runite bars, which is pretty good for a skilling moneymaker. Now another one of the best skilling moneymakers once again comes from the Lunar Spellbook, and that would be the Tan Leather spell. This is one of the most profitable ways to train magic, and it's very consistent in the profit that you make. Now the spell does have a few requirements to use. Primarily you need 78 magic to cast it, the Lunar Diplomacy quest to unlock the spellbook, as well as you need to complete the Hard Fremennik Diary to unlock the spell. So it has quite a few requirements, but it is more than worth unlocking. Now you can tan any leather, but generally you're going to go for one of the dragon hides. Currently the most profitable is black dragon hide, and generally is, but sometimes it varies a bit, so you want to check the prices before you purchase a lot of the dragon hides. The process is very simple. You simply are going to need astral runes and nature runes in a rune pouch or in your inventory, and you're going to have a staff of fire equipped. You withdraw a full inventory of the leather you want to tan, and you cast the spell 5 times. Each time you cast it, it tans 5 hides, After casting it 5 times, you simply rebank and repeat. With the 10 leather spell, you can actually get up to 130k per hour magic experience, which is pretty good, considering you can also make well over 1 mil per hour on top of that. The only drawback is it's kind of click intensive, but it's not any more click intensive than alkene and way more lucrative. Now next up here we have the most profitable skilling boss, and that would be Zalcano. Zalcano has quite a few requirements to unlock it, requiring 74 mining to even participate in the minigame, as well as getting access to the Elven City, which requires Song of the Elves, which is a pretty steep requirement in itself. Now the reason Zalcano is so profitable is it isn't a very effective training method. You're not going to be getting a substantial amount of mining experience. It is mostly just a moneymaker, but you are going to get some mining experience too, so I thought it was worth putting on the list. At the current prices of ores, Zalcano can earn you up to about 1.2 mil per hour, while giving you up to around 15k per hour mining experience and a very low amount of smithing and runecrafting experience to go alongside that. Now historically and still today, the most profitable skilling moneymaker in the game has been runecrafting. It has just recently been eclipsed by some of the newer methods added, specifically the old school, but still to this day, runecrafting is one of the most profitable skills in the game. Now there are so many individual ways to make money with runecrafting that I decided to lump it all into one category, otherwise it would take up like half or more of the entire list. Generally, you're going to need a fairly high runecrafting level to make significant profit from the skill, but there are a few options even at lower levels. For example, you can make double cosmic runes, starting at 59 runecrafting, and that will net you up to 700k per hour. Once you get into the 70s and 80s for runecrafting, quite a few more options open up. If you take advantage of the Abyss, you can craft blood runes through there, earning yourself up to 1.2 mil per hour. And currently, the most profitable way to train a skill is Wrath runes, which can earn you up to a whopping 2.3 mil per hour, but it's gonna cost you your soul because you need 95 runecrafting to do it. There are just so many ways to make money with the skill. If you're looking to make some money and you kind of enjoy runecrafting, highly recommended to grind it out. The Darkmire update I still think is one of my favorites that has ever been added to Old School, and in the new city is the Hallowed Sepulchre that offers one of the most profitable skilling training methods in the game. The Hallowed Sepulchre offers the best experience rate and the best profit, but it actually has a pretty difficult learning curve. Now the Hallowed Sepulchre can be accessed at as low level as 52, but you're not going to be making very much money at those levels. Generally, it's recommended to wait until at least 72 agility, where you'll have access to floors 1 through 3. While at that point, the money per hour is still going to be significantly worse, it will at least be offering the best experience rate at that level. While there are of course guides to the Hallowed Sepulchre, it really just requires you to practice dodging arrows, dodging traps, timing. It's just something you have to learn yourself after some practice. Now the money that you earn in the Sepulchre comes from the coffins that you loot along the way, and once you get to higher levels, the Grand Hallowed Coffin at the end, which gives you a chance of getting the Ring of Endurance. Now the amount of coffins that you loot kind of comes down to personal preference, whether you want more money per hour or more experience. Once you have access to the 4th floor, you can start earning yourself nearly a mil per hour just in the regular loot, which is very good for agility. And once you finally unlock the 5th floor and get access to all the coffins, you can earn an average of about 2.2 mil per hour while getting the best experience rate in the game. It's really a no-brainer if you're willing to do a high-intensity agility method, but the difficulty is why it is still so profitable. Now finally here we have the titan of skilling moneymakers, and that would be high-end pickpocketing. Now there are 2 main NPCs people generally pickpocket at a high level from, and that would be elves and vyres. They both are incredibly profitable, usually occupying the number 1 and 2 spots for skilling moneymakers, and it kind of comes down to personal preference on which one you would do. Now I personally pickpocketed elves all the way to 99 thieving, so it is definitely my favorite and tends to be the more profitable and consistent. Now the requirements for these are a little bit interesting. You can start pickpocketing from both of them once you reach 85 thieving. It's not going to be nearly as effective at that level, but you can definitely still do it. Pickpocketing becomes the most effective actually once you get to 99 because you get the perk from the thieving cape, but in my experience is much more motivating to get actually valuable experience and maybe less money per hour, but at least you are progressing your account instead of simply just grinding out money, which gets boring very quickly. Now the strategy for both of them is pretty much the same. I'm going to give an example with elves because I have a lot more experience doing it. Now, even at a very high thieving level, the chance of failure is still extremely high, which means you're definitely going to want to take advantage of a few things. Dodgy necklaces, which give you a 25% chance from not being stunned if you get caught, and I'd highly recommend using the Shadow Veil spell, which will also give you 50% chance of avoiding being stunned if you get caught. Now pretty much all the profit comes from the enhanced crystal seed, worth about 2.2 mil, but you want to make sure you're also wearing the rogue's outfit, which will double any loot that you get, including the seed, which is why this method is so profitable. Also, completing the Ardoin diary will improve your pickpocketing chance as well. Altogether, at least giving you a decent chance pre-99. Now, of course, once you get to 99, the thieving cape will help out the most, but you have to get there first. Now, I personally took advantage of the redemption method, which involved bringing a full inventory of ancient brews and using redemption whenever I was low HP. These offer a very cost-effective and inventory-efficient way to heal yourself up, so you wouldn't have to run back to a bank nearly as often. Now I personally had pickpocket from Mithreles, which was a little bit west of the house portal. Pretty easy to get them trapped behind this door here, and just kind of go to town. Thanks to a new addition to RuneLite, you're able to shift and right-click them and make pickpocket the left-click option, which makes this so much easier. No more having to move your screen around and get it into a perfect position. Now the amount of money you're able to make per hour goes up to currently about 2.6 mil per hour in profit, while getting about 150k thieving experience on top of that. Pickpocketing Fires isn't quite as profitable, but it does offer higher experience rates per hour, scaling up to a potential profit of around 2.3 mil per hour and over 200,000 thieving experience. The only drawback to this method is the blood shards, which is where you get most of your money from, are much more rare, so you're going to have to wait a lot longer to get a payout, but the payout is higher. Either of these methods though is quite good, and if you can handle the amount of clicking required, I would highly recommend doing these to 99. And that's it. Those are the most profitable ways to make money in this game with skilling currently. Hopefully they add some new stuff in the future, but for now those are the best. Thanks for watching guys as always, and I will see you next time. Now before I go here, I want to give a giant thank you to all of my members over on YouTube. Thank you to Mitch Reinders, March3258, Prophet of the Boosh, The Hybrid, and Kush Patel for subscribing at the Dragon tier. Thank you once again for all the support. Also thank you to YoYoSub89, Mexos, and NDM001 for subscribing at the Runite tier. Appreciate you all, and of course everyone else who became a member, subscribed, or just watched my video. Thanks again, and I will see you next time.